Cool.
Okay,
At
now
this
we were.
point,
Very
Matt, you could
nice.
do what I've done for Game Show and just make one called Films and Filth
Oh yeah, I
at like
suppose I
8 a.m.
could.
daily.
Yeah, since we've been doing it at the same. Well, we didn't used to do it at the same
But
time,
also,
right?
the time doesn't
Mm.
actually make that much difference. You can
Right.
Yeah,
join
just
at
once a
any
week.
time.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, maybe yeah, I might do that. Except then I just get dates. I don't get the names.
Yeah, but for people like this, ones like this, where it's
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
also
see
the
just
call
anything
always.
from a
saves with the
link.
names of everyone in the call, doesn't it?
I'll find out, I guess, when I do that because I
Yeah,
haven't
I
done it
see
yet.
the names. I mean, I don't
Uh,
know what that means. I
oh
don't know
no,
if
no,
that
I'm
means
talking
anything.
about the name of the meeting. I don't want to list it as Matthew Commage's meeting or whatever, or his films and filth. Sorry, I'm still
Mm,
looking for the number. My brain's not working.
I think.
50.
You
Oh
offer him
boy.
solutions, and he's just like, no, because I like doing it my way.
That
Are you sure that's right? Because we did some moving around
was
and
only on
stuff.
bad list stuff. This one is 56.
Okay. Okay.
In at number 56, it's just a leap of faith.
How many Spider-Man dreams have you had? I've had two vivid Spider-Man dreams swinging through
Dreams?
dreams.
Two or
First
three, I
person.
think.
Oh, okay.
I never
Uh,
have dreams about being Spider-Man, but I probably had dreams about hanging out with Spider-Man.
I think I've had
Because
more of those, but I definitely had at least one or two.
I've never
I'm
hung out
always
with
me in my
Spider-Man
dreams.
dream.
I have a lot of
Yeah, but I
those
could.
like
That's the point of this film,
Spider-Man.
Mark. You can be me and be Spider-Man.
Hmm.
I have
You're
like
right.
Spider-Man dreams. I have Master Chief dreams. I have there was like anything where I'm a badass. Like if I never have like scary dreams because if like the world is ending, I'm just like, all right, I'm grabbing a shotgun and I'm like killing all these zombies. Like it never bothers me. So
My,
like I always like take the like control of the situation. Like Jedi dreams all the
yeah, my
time. Just
Awesome.
like
my last end of the world dream. I was talking to some guy, and there was a nuclear strike, and the fireball started coming. But I went lucid about that point, so I was just telling him, "Oh, well, you better finish your point because we're about to incinerate."
You have no idea how many dreams I've had where I'm just hanging out at the mall. It's probably in the thousands or tens of thousands.
Ooh, okay. I don't
I
think I've
Anyway,
had so
very
many.
rarely remember dreams these days, though.
it's like that cutaway in like a gag where it's like a you see the interior life of someone and it's just like doing his
yep.
taxes or something and like it's like oh the vast world of the dreamscape and it's just like the most boring mundane thing imaginable.
Yep.
Like
Into the
every time the
Spider-Verse.
dreamscape
What a
shows up, it's
dream of
Spider-Man, and it's the most, not Spider-Man, sorry, X-Men, and it's like the most boring issues.
a.
Yeah, this is the one where they just go to the mall.
They're
I think
just playing
actually that was one of the
baseball.
movies, the
Yeah, that
worst
was Dark
X-Men movie,
Phoenix.
right?
I actually wish they had stayed at that mall more. That was like I was like, oh cool, they're gonna hang out in the mall and it's like 2 seconds. I was like, well, damn it, man. Now we gotta do all this apocalypse
Well,
stuff, which is
Yeah.
terrible.
there was all these rumors that
Oh,
Dazzler
you're
was
right.
going
It
to be
was
Taylor
Apocalypse.
Swift, so we were like, I don't know, you guys. I was just like, oh, please let Taylor Swift be in this movie as an X-Men.
I do remember the
And it
Taylor
didn't.
Swift Dazzler rumors being
Yeah,
pervasive.
yeah,
Um, how about
but
this dream of a movie? Sorry, that's a reference from a minute ago. Into the
yeah.
Spider-Verse. Today's movie, which yeah, you guys said you'd seen all the Spider-Mans in the theater, which Spider-Man, the Mins of
Mm-hmm.
Spiders. I actually have just missed the Spider-Verse ones for some reason. Wait a
You
minute, did I
don't
see the
respect
first one?
animation, you
Hold
fucker.
on, hold on. No, I did see the first one in the theater. I didn't see the second one in the theater. It's been a while. Okay.
Oh,
I saw the Raimis and all the Spider-Verse, but I never saw the Amazing Spider-Mans, and I dodged a bullet. So
No, I saw those in the
wait,
theater
yeah,
too.
you did.
did
Weren't
I?
you with
No,
me when we saw Amazing Spider-Man 2? You weren't there
I
with like
don't think
Mickey and
so.
them
Unless I was like on a ton
at
of
the
drugs or some
drive-in.
shit.
You
I
might have
don't
been
remember
really
that at all.
wasted. I feel like that might have been the time that you threw like a huge case of beer at the screen and Megan
No,
got mad
no,
at
no.
you.
That was
That was a
Guardians
different
of the
movie.
Galaxy and Conquest for the Planet of the
Uh,
Apes. One of the newer apes. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could be wrong. I just
I
remember
got mad at
seeing
the dance like contest at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I threw a beer at the
that's
screen.
That's fair. That's 100% fair. Anyway, we haven't introduced anything. This is Films and Filth. We're talking about not Enter the Spider-Verse. It's Into the Spider-Verse.
What is
I'm
Enter?
Mark.
Enter
I don't
Sandman
know.
was the second Spider-Man game on PS1.
Oh, I'm Enter.
Ah,
No,
What
sorry,
so
even
Enter
meant?
Electro. Enter Sandman
so
is the song by Metallica.
so what do
Oh,
you have to do to enter Sandman in that game? Do you have to fist him?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
Spider-Man's always fisting Sandman. Jameson's like, give me
So
pictures of Spider-Man fisting Sandman.
Well,
I mean,
on
the
the
thing
kick
about
that
Sandman is you fist him and then he just turns into sand, so you can never get like the tension. So he's just like, haha. He always does that. That's his catchphrase.
And then you end
well,
up
I
with
think he
sand in
can
your
control.
foreskin. Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
controls the attention really well, honestly. But
Okay. He could crush your hand probably. I mean, it's extremely dangerous.
You
So
gotta lube him
anyway,
up first, so he's sandy.
I am always very self-conscious about how our good list episodes can be kind of not boring, but kind of hard to talk about, hard to find any kind of like traction, except for
Mm.
like, I don't know, way older movies. So I invited our guest Phil because I remember him not liking these very much.
I wouldn't say I don't like them. I will say one thing really quick. When you were confused over the title, we didn't even mention the MCU Spider-Man movies, which also have titles you can't fucking keep track of because they're all
Yeah.
like named, and it's like, but
Especially
that's
the
like
second
part of
two.
why is because they're so like nothing movies, and I don't know. Anyway, but I wish movies would stop doing that thing where like it's like or if you're good at naming something like that, be very distinct, like A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back. You're not going to confuse those, but like now it's like things that sound almost exactly the same. It's like, why? Stop doing that. But
I
anyway,
call it
I
Star
wouldn't
Wars.
say I hate these movies. I just don't understand the like insane over the top praise that they get outside of the animation. And the first one I think is good. This is the one where I really started to see like the cracks. And
Mhm.
my main problem with these movies are it's not even really like the worst thing a movie can do, but everything Lord and Miller does reminds me of that J.J. Abrams Save the Cat thing where it's constant moving forward and the movies are not about anything and you don't remember anything and at the end you're like, oh, okay, a bunch of shit happened. But it's not about anything. There's nothing holding this story together. I don't care about anything. It's just flashy images that are well done and it's a lot of quips that are fun, but nothing about this movie is like what I would like is if in America we could make a movie of this quality animation wise that wasn't about fucking Spider-Man. That's kind of what I would
I
like. But
I think
um
America should stop making films that are not about Spider-Man, to be honest.
every film,
Like,
I think that the my feelings about this have shifted a little bit because this was an early like multiverse thing and I got sick of multiverse pretty quickly after this. And I wish this was just about one Spider-Man, and I wish that the Black Spider-Man got his own movie instead of being like the whatever fifth tier Spider-Man on here, even though he's the main character. It's kind of like I like this character. Like I wish he just got his own movie, and
if
he never
if we
will.
had had this and we didn't then have like No Way Home and the whole MCU going multiverse, it wouldn't bother me. But I think now that it's you can sort of look at it as the herald of that apocalypse, it's harder to forgive it. But I think this film on
Yeah.
its own, I think what it does with the multiverse is worth it because I like seeing a bunch of Spider-Mans hanging out.
Yeah, I like all the Spider-Mans, but it keeps doing this bit where it's like, one more time, we're gonna do it. Like, you can joke about doing another origin story, about doing like 10 origin stories in one but it's still 10 origin stories in one movie.
Oh, but they're like 30 seconds
And they
each.
give four of them all at the same time, which is pretty funny.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I think that's a shit criticism and you're an idiot.
Oh, you're right.
Let's add some spice
That's
to this
fair.
podcast. Fuck you, Mark.
Oh, you know what? Fuck you, Luke.
I'm
I'm
not the
gonna
biggest
go to
fan of
another
all
Oh,
dimension
good
where I'm
episodes are boring. Are they? Watch me.
I'm gonna go to another dimension where I'm the smartest person on this podcast.
Good fucking luck.
I don't really mind all the Spider-Man variants. I just think villain variants are much more interesting,
That's
personally. Like,
true.
or that they don't really do much with any of the Spider-Man variants, and the fact that they are variants means basically nothing. They all kind of do the same shit. So that's really what it is. Like a Spider-Man noir show that they're making is way more interesting to me because you're gonna get
Yeah,
into that.
I think I have more interest in just if each of these Spider-Man variants was just given a film rather than
Well,
shoving them
Right,
this way. Like
as it is,
like
they
Mark
just
was
kind of
saying
show
about
up.
Miles, right? Like
I
give me a
honestly
Miles
the
story where it's not about how he's weird because he's not Peter Parker.
what's the anime? Does the anime robot Spider-Man like have an official name other than Penny Parker? Whatever that thing is, I'd watch that. whatever
Well, I
that
thought
is. Anime
that's another
Spider-Man.
beef I have with this movie. Speaking of that, is that they were supposed to have the voice actor from the '70s Spider-Man Japanese show, and they, for some reason, didn't put him in here.
Oh,
And I guess
Oh
they'll have
yeah,
him in
I'm
the
the
sequel,
emissary of
but
hell.
yeah, like
yeah,
the
hopefully we'll
Best
see
dopest
a
line ever.
Leopardon.
They fucking send you to hell. And he has a mech, like a real mech. But yeah.
Yeah,
He's the
that
reason
would
those
have.
shows ended up having mechs, so we can thank him for like Power Rangers.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible and should have been just a movie by itself.
In the
But I think
Spider-Verse comic, the Leopardon does show up and stomp on some bad guys.
it's like the funny thing is I've never read any like Spider-Verse comics or Miles Morales comics, but I have read Peter Porker.
Yeah, Peter Porker used to be in the back of the regular comics, right?
Yeah.
Spider-Ham
him.
and Batmite and like Mr. Mixapilitic, all that kind of stuff is always really cool to me. I like cartoon characters in the DC or Marvel universe, like Plastic Man, who's just
Yeah, I
literally
was like,
like
Yeah.
yeah, it was what the that was their kind of parodying themselves thing. There was Brett Hembeck destroys the Marvel universe. That was a lot of fun, where he goes around killing every Marvel character, like this just cartoonist with a beard. Obnoxio the Clown meets the X-Men. That was a good one.
Yeah, I'm here for anytime X-Men go into like get trapped in space and are dealing with some kind of just insane
You're
Dr.
like
McCoy, meet
space
Dr.
shit.
McCoy.
you're
Yeah.
like the opposite of most X-Men fans I know. Who are like, I hope I never see those fucking bird aliens again.
I mean, yeah, in practice, well, they're never going to make movies of that, right? It's too expensive. They'll never do that. It's always going to be like, now it's
They could make a shitty CGI movie.
another
like
senator.
they half-assed the fucking aliens in Dark Phoenix. We did get those. They were just some
Yeah,
dudes.
they keep trying to do that, and they nobody has done it better than the animated series, which had a
Hmm.
budget of like $50.
Yeah, but it also
And
had
they
time to tell a story.
and
That's
also
true.
just did the comics basically.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
toned it down a bit.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of that 90s series. It was just all the comics stories that we wanted to see.
Yeah, they did the comics, and then Batman the Animated Series did like the swerve thing where they were doing
Mhm.
something completely different. So it's like
I,
those two were
I found out
better.
something about Batman the animated series I didn't know. So the reason that it's set in like they probably kind of were going to do kind of a gothic noir thing, but the real reason for it is that was that era. Spider-Man cartoon was the same, no guns, so that they were allowed to have Tommy guns because those are something a kid wouldn't be able to find in his dad's closet. I guess is
Ah.
the thinking.
There are
But
a few dads.
that's something if you watch that Spider-Man show from around that time too.
Yeah, they all have
that I
laser beams and
loved.
stuff.
Yeah, I never realized it as a kid, but now you watch it, like, why is no one shooting Spider-Man? Like,
It's like,
it's like,
well, it's like,
Well-
why do the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles even carry those weapons?
yeah,
So they
they
can
never
hit
use them
people.
after the
Sorry?
first movie.
Are you talking about the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles?
Oh,
I almost
sorry.
said that. I almost said that for you, Luke, but I was just like, I want to say, I
Well,
want to
they
say
are
ninja.
heroes. Well, they're not. They're more heroes than ninjas. But if you guys, has any of you seen the new Batman series? What is it, Cape Crusader? The
Nope.
reboot.
No.
It's interesting because watching it, I just kind of binged it while I was working on some stuff. You can tell everything that they censored because it's very obvious because they're crooked cops, which there were not in the original series. There people shoot at each other. I think somebody says hell or damn a couple of times.
Damn
And
hell.
also there's like ghosts are real and there's some real like actual like weird voodoo shit in it. So
That's
you
what
can
the
tell-
movies are like frustrating because they all get bogged down in the gritty realism, and I'm like, Batman like punches dinosaurs and shit. Like,
Where
you
Batman
need
is-
some magic and weirdness in Batman.
We need
sometimes.
rainbow costumes for every day.
Yeah,
I
the
recommend-
Batman of Zero Ul or what? I don't know what the fuck. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
Um,
they do that guy. They do Ra's al Ghul in the original whatever series, but I guess
No,
it's
no,
just-
the Batman of Zero Real is
Oh.
the like
It's like Batman
psychedelic
creates a
costume.
second identity in the back of his mind in case he's ever
So that if
brainwashed
anyone
and shit.
hacks his brain, he can go into this psychotic persona that's unhackable, and he's like basically like a schizo homeless person in a rainbow suit.
Hell
The
yeah.
person who really went crazy with that was Grant Morrison, and it's like his run. But yeah,
Sign me up.
but Batman has like all sorts of insane shit, like magic and shit, and they never do that in the movies. They're like, oh, what if the Riddler was the Zodiac killer? It's like, oh, come on, man, just
I
What
guess
if Ra's al
Spider-Verse
Ghul
is
was a guy?
I guess Spider-Verse is kind of the door to really start throwing insane shit on big budget movie screens, you know?
That's something I love about it is it's
Yeah,
balls to the wall comic shit.
like
Like,
the second one I have a lot more problems with because of the fact it's an unfinished story and it's so insistent on jerking me off for being a Spider-Man fan for its entire runtime. But damn, it had a lot of stuff from the comics in
I
it.
thought that one looked better than this.
Oh, it
I
looks
mean,
stunning.
probably
The music is
because,
amazing. Every like individual scene is great.
but they
I
like
just don't know that
destroyed
it hung
animators
together
for it.
very well because it's half a story and it turns out they barely fucking started the third one.
Yeah, watching this
See,
last
I
night, I
feel
did. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel almost the opposite about the story, where the sequel was so insistent on your whatever your uncle has to die or whatever
Mm.
because you're Spider-Man that it pissed me off
Yeah,
kind
me
of a
too.
lot, and I'm like I'm waiting for if the third movie just kind of undoes that, or
Well,
because
that's
I
it.
just hated them.
I feel
I
like I
hated the
can't
Spider
have an
Verse.
opinion on that second film because it's so clearly half a story. Because I was
Hmm.
like the idea that Spider-Man is just a fucking cop who follows orders is so un-Spider-Man to me.
Yep.
And like the Peter Parker acting like that. But then like
also,
by the end he has sort of turned the corner and he's gonna go help Miles. So I'm sure by the time I see the third film.
Yeah, he needs to be the military-industrial complex's bitch, right? Not just the police.
I
Put
Don't
some
mean,
get me started on
chevrons
Tom
on
Holland
his
I'm
Spider-Man.
costume.
Fucking chevrons on
I'm
the costume.
I mean, the Spider Council or whatever the fuck it is basically the military industrial complex in time in
Yeah.
the second movie. Um, I actually did like that movie, so I don't know why I'm going so hard on it, but
I
like
like
if
elements of it, I have hesitations.
yeah,
yeah,
well, the
Whereas
hardest
this
thing
one,
about any story is ending it. Like I've
mm,
seen a million movies that are great until like the last 15 minutes and it all falls apart. So it's like it's the easiest thing in the world to come up with a first couple of acts that are fucking awesome if you don't have to guarantee anything is paid off. Like like you could do anything. You could say make it as cool as possible, but if you don't pay it off, it doesn't really matter. And
well, yeah,
and
the
I was like
J.J.
a little
Abrams
bit
trick. He can start
yeah.
stories really well.
Yeah, you get like a really exciting like narrative, but you're not if you don't have to pay it off, it can just be open. And I was a little more okay with that until I found out they really did not have like anything set in stone for the rest of it. Then I was like, okay, I don't know if they can land this. Like
Hmm.
if they
yeah.
had like a pre-plan, maybe I'd be more on board, but I don't know if they'll land that. Like, but again, both of these movies, I don't hate them. I love the animation. I love some of the nerdy stuff in it, but I just feel like people talk about these movies like they're some of the best movies ever, obviously, because they're on this IMDb list as well. But like, that's
Hmm.
the only thing I push back on is like they're fine. Like,
I
I think
think
they're fine.
I think we have to
Like,
look at them also in the context of where the MCU was at when these came out, which was like people
The
were
second one, it
starting to
was
get that,
bad.
especially the second, people were really starting to get that fatigue,
Uh-huh.
and especially for that sort of dry visual aesthetic. Like think about Eternals, right? And
Think
taking
about
all that
concrete.
gorgeous Jack Kirby color and just making it these dull looking costumes. And then here's Spider-Verse turning up, and it's like, oh, here's everything you actually wanted from Spider-Man.
Here's color in
uh,
your
Yeah.
eye.
And also, like, Sony was pumping out fucking Venom and Madam Web and Morbius around this
Uh-huh.
time.
Well, Morbius came out before the sequel did, but it came out it I don't think honestly, I don't think it's fair to like I think Morbius still looks better than most of the MCU movies.
I
I
I would
mean,
think that if it didn't do that weird fucking effect every time
I
they
mean
use their powers,
it,
that
it's
makes it look
not
like a CW show.
it, I know it's not like a fantastic I just remember being like, well, this
I would say
actually
that
looks
about
kind of
Madam
cool.
Web though. Madam Web has great
Uh,
cinematography.
I
yeah,
haven't
it
seen
does.
that yet. Huh. Is it
Eh,
should I watch it? Is it like
Yeah,
fun enough to watch? Okay.
it's not fun bad in the way that Morbius is. It's just like
Hmm.
a very mediocre film, but it looks pretty.
Gotcha.
Um,
I did
Another
have a
thing I
good
like
laugh.
about these You were talking about like the people were burned out in the MCU. Every time I've seen these Spider-Verse movies, the audience is insanely young, but like teenagers and stuff. Like it's the audience I don't see go to any other movies. I have A-list. I go to the movies all the fucking time. You never see this age bracket in the theater. They do not give a shit. And
Hmm.
every time I've gone to see this, it's been that generation. So just the idea that a movie is getting those people to come see movies. Like a kid showed up on a skateboard when I was there, and it felt like people who like really related to this, and I liked that about it. Like it
Oh yeah,
does
you
seem to
can
have
tell that's the
connected.
case because canon event has become just like lingo that the youth use on social
Hmm.
media.
Huh.
Like when they
I
don't
mean,
talk about big life events, they call them canon events.
it's funny. Well, I mean, the MCU, like it's you can trace it right back to the characters where it's like all the characters in the MCU are named Bruce, Natasha, Tony, like these names that nobody like people our age are probably the last people who had these actual. I've never met anyone named Bruce. Like
Hmm.
I've never met, you know what I mean? I knew somebody named Natasha who was my age in like elementary school, and I've never met anybody named that since. It's this weird thing that dates all of it. And Miles Morales is a modern character. It's like I don't really relate to Peter. I like Peter Parker. I don't really relate to him on like I don't see myself in him, you know?
Yeah, I do relate to Peter Parker. I grew up very much as a Peter Parker.
I do
Um,
when it's like the Steve Ditko, Sam Raimi version. Everything after that, I'm like, it
See,
just
I'm
becomes a
much more
wish
of a
fulfillment.
Andrew Garfield Peter Parker because I was
I did
a nerd but
photojournalism
kind
my
of cool.
first year in university, so
I
I
definitely not
mean, I
Steve
sort of did
Ditko
too.
fucking what's the word? Libertarian school rally Spider-Man.
um, Mark, before we get deeper, can you give us that story in case someone watched this a few years ago and has had their brain scrambled by the last 3 years of multiverse MCU and they need a
Okay,
refresher?
I'll try to make this make as much sense as I can. Miles Morales is a regular teenager who has a lot to deal with, like being cucked by his cop father over police intercom in front of his new private school, while he's doing graffiti with his uncle, who must be evil because only evil men do graffiti. He's bitten by a radioactive spider that's also a robot or something. Anyway, he gets Spider-Man powers, which begin when he gets all sticky and gets stuck to the new girl at school. Meanwhile, Miles accidentally finds a particle accelerator which the Kingpin has built to get another family from an alternate dimension because his first family walked in on him punching Spider Man and he was all like, I swear this isn't what it looks like. Then they drove away really fast and died in a car wreck. Spider Man, who is there to stop Kingpin, sees that Miles is also a Spider Man, and this seems totally normal to him for some reason. He says he'll show Miles the ropes, but then Kingpin murders Spider Man because this is exactly what it looks like. Spider Man gives Miles the dongle that will stop the accelerator and says he'll have to be the one to insert the dongle. Then he dies. Miles then finds another older, less good Spider Man at Spider Man's grave. He's also from another dimension, and they team up to try to get him back to his dimension and destroy the accelerator. They break into the facility and discover that Dr. Octopus is a woman in this dimension, so I don't know what dimension we're even in. They escape with the help of the new girl at school, Gwen, who tells them that she is also the new girl in this dimension and also the only Spider Woman, which seems like a bold and unprovable claim. They find the Aunt May of the dead Spider Man, who is also harboring Spider Ham, Spider Man Noir, and Penny Parker, who are all not only from different dimensions but different time periods, which raises even more questions than it answers. Did life form earlier in those universes? Anyway, Miles then finds out that his Uncle Aaron is actually so evil that he has a robotic suit with claws and flies around making elephant noises. He almost kills Miles, but then he reveals himself. But when Aaron hesitates, Kingpin puts him down like some kind of Uncle Ben esque dog. Miles then thoughtfully leads all the villains back to Aunt May's house where everyone has a huge fight. Nobody thinks that Miles has what it takes to destroy the particle accelerator, and he doesn't either. But then he does, and then they do. He fights Kingpin while the other spider people escape. The particle accelerator generates an alternate universe family who walk in on him punching Spider Man, and he's like, I swear this isn't what it looks like. Then they fuck off to their own dimension, probably to go die in their own car crash. Kingpin is arrested, and Spider Man tells his cop dad he loves him. Spider Man 2099 goes into the Ralph Bakshi cartoon to point fingers. The end.
Somehow you managed to mention like every event of the film without capturing like any of the themes. Like the opposite of what I would have written.
Hell yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you're
I
a
guess
fucking idiot, Mark.
Yep, that's right. I'm gonna go to another dimension where people appreciate my summaries.
I think
Get it.
it's heavily implied that Peter B is from like the closest to our dimension. Because like in his
I mean,
dimension it's Coca-Cola, and then in Miles' dimension it's got another name and stuff like that.
Yeah, because of the
yeah, the restaurant
PDNY in
closed or
this.
whatever.
Yeah, the restaurant's
Um,
been closed.
They do
the
PDNY in the games as well. I think that's because they don't want to upset the NYPD thing.
Mm.
I mean, the idea that even two spider, even two universes have a Spider-Man is completely insane.
Every universe has a Spider-Man.
Most
Yeah,
universes
and
don't have humans.
if you really want to get into annoying, like the
Because
problem with
Spider-Man
comic
is the web
books,
of fate that binds the universe. That's why
yeah, I
it's
was
the
gonna say if you
Spider-Verse.
if you get
There
into
is no
comic
fate
books,
but what we make.
everything. So did you know the Venom symbiote is like from the like black dark matter that forms the entire universe and all that kind of shit? Eventually, everything
Huh.
in comic books connects into everything else. Like everything has to be the most important thing ever. Yeah, it's yeah. Like I don't
That particularly annoys me with Spider-Man because he's meant to be like just the working class guy doing his best.
That's what I was gonna say. That's one of the things I don't like about these movies too, is that they attract Spider-Man fans, which are like Sonic fans, in that they really love all this stuff that sucks about Spider-Man for like decades. They love that shit. And I'm like, I think Spider-Man had like a few good runs or like a few moments that were good, and especially that original run. But if you are obsessed with all that shit, it is I mean, have fun, whatever, but I can't get into all that minutia of that Spider-Man bullshit. Like when he
Uh,
sold his soul to the devil to make everyone forget who
yeah.
he was, so on make him all that. I don't
That's
care. That's
because
so uninteresting. Like I don't know.
that's because
I
comic book fans can't relate to a guy who gets laid. So we need to erase his wife from existence.
I honestly I was kind of reading Spider-Man during the infamous Clone Saga,
Mm.
and I think they should just adapt that because that's so upsetting that it's like I don't know if I'm Spider-Man or I don't know who I am and this other guy
Mm.
is me and I'm
Well,
not
they
this
they
guy.
they parody him in the second movie brilliantly, where
Yeah,
he's just
they
the fucking
do.
edgy guy who complains all the time.
Yeah, but I think that I don't know. That's like a widely hated Spider-Man thing that I think was at least kind of interesting because it's like, what is identity? Who are you really?
Mm.
I even like
Which
some of
this
that
doesn't
stuff.
do.
I just don't get why people get so into the minutia of learning all that stuff. Just because I don't find there's so much Spider-Man stuff and not that much of it is interesting. Like,
I
Yeah,
mean, I
but like
disagree. I think it's
people
all
are
good.
obsessed to like a degree that I will never. And I'm a nerd. Like I know a ton shit. I think it's like also Spider-Man fans are not comic book nerds. They are Spider-Man fans. They don't care about any other comics either. That's another thing. Like they only care about Spider-Man. That's a
I used
big
to read
thing.
everything, but once I could had to buy my own comics, I could only afford one, so I picked Spidey. But
Mm. Yeah, I'm
I
thinking
would be happy
I
with
when
think
I
there's
Spidey.
just an
was.
element of some people. It's always going to be a clash because, like, I like storytelling and I want to think about stories and the character and whatever. And then you get people who are they're just into the minutia. Like, it's when I'm having conversations with like someone who's into Star Trek. I'm like, oh, I like this episode because it was interesting morals, or whatever. Like, I like this one because this Borg device was the most dangerous and it could beat anything else in any other episode. And I'm like,
Hmm.
cool. But like, someone just wrote that down. That doesn't, it's not
It's
real.
Yeah,
it's like how
people who
my
know like
favorite
It's when you, instead of thinking like, oh, what's a good story? I think Superman could beat Goku in a fight, actually.
my favorite Star Wars is Andor because there is very the only time they mention the Emperor in that they talk about it like he's this scary thing that who they don't want to bring up. And that makes
Hmm.
the Emperor scary. Much
Yeah.
scarier than him being like, ah ha, 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 ha.
The dead
Anyway.
speak.
Yeah, I somehow I'm here in this stadium full of
I kind of that's
goo,
the good thing
man.
about Star Wars though, is that it's like a bureaucracy run by like a satanic cultist. Like that's cool. Like it's like a bunch of
Okay,
nerds in suits and then like a guy who literally like controls evil like
you're
through his
right. You're right.
like
You're right, but
like
it's
that's
that's
cool.
much scarier when they don't talk like the one of the best things about the sequel trilogy, whether you like it or not, is that Darth Vader
Not.
doesn't come out ever.
Hmm.
Like that makes Darth Vader much scarier than if Darth Vader showed up as a Force ghost and was like,
One of my favorite things
I'm
about
good now."
the original Star Wars is when Darth Vader shows up and like they're all just doing their job, and here's this mad freak wizard who shows up and starts rambling at them.
Yeah,
I
like the
saw a meme
meeting.
yesterday that was like everyone on the Death Star thought Darth Vader was a DEI hire until he choked that guy out.
And that
I
guy
mean, yeah,
fails
or the
upward,
Cloud
doesn't he?
City.
Isn't he a general a movie or two later?
They're
I
pretty
don't.
sure he's
Yeah,
dead,
because
dude.
he kills a bunch of people and then
They
he,
blow up
he
the whole
gets
Death Star, man.
promoted.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're
Maybe
thinking,
I'm
you're
thinking
thinking of the guy in Empire who that is in Jedi. He gets
Yes, I am. That's correct.
But yeah, I
He's the
also like the
only
Cloud
one that
City
doesn't get
thing.
choked because Darth Vader gets emotional or whatever.
He also has a deleted scene where he hesitates about using the Death Star's guns.
Huh. Well, but yeah, when Darth Vader shows up at the Cloud City thing and he's like, "What's up, bitch? I'm at your dinner.
And
So
does
we're
that
gonna
thing where
have
he
dinner."
catches a laser, which he never does again. But
Hmm.
that's one
Yeah.
another thing I like about Star Wars is that like it's like in Episode 1 when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon like
They
do the
just fucking run
speed
like
and
Sonic the
like
Hedgehog.
they never do it again. Like they kind of have like force jumps and like speed dash kind of things, but not like that ever
Like his
again. It's
little
just like
video game move, yeah.
it's just like boop. Like okay. But yeah,
So
they'll
then,
just like have a force power they use once, and it's like that would come in handy other times, I think, and they just never use it again.
I mean, again, not to bring up the sequels again, but that thing where at the very big, like the first 2 minutes of it, where Kylo Ren just stops that laser and just sitting there, and then it like kills the guy later,
Hmm.
is probably the coolest thing in any of this movies, unfortunately.
I think the
Well,
first 15 minutes of the sequel trilogy is like, hey, maybe this will be all right, and then yeah, just nothing.
I had faith right up until Rise of Skywalker came out.
I'm pretty much on your page with that one, yeah.
That is
I
one
liked
thing.
Rise of Skywalker because I thought it was funny.
That is one thing. I laughed my ass off at Rise, especially when Chewbacca died. But I've never met a single person who likes the sequel trilogy. I've met people
Hmm.
like Last Jedi, Force Awakens, even some weirdos that like Rise, but I've never met someone who's like, I think that's a successful trilogy where all three films, like, no one ever says that. Like,
I
It's
mean,
such a difficult thing because you're like, I hate the sequels. Like me too. I'm like, yeah, but do you hate the sequels for the good reasons or for the bad reasons?
I mean, like a woman,
well,
like it's like this movie, Doc Ock is a woman. That's some fucking DEI. What woke
Woke
bullshit? Like,
Spider-Man.
yeah, people were definitely saying DEI in 2018. But yeah, I think that the sequel trilogy, like, there's always that argument: is this a good sequel? Is this a bad sequel or a bad movie? Where I think that the sequel trilogy is a series of bad sequels, but I also think the prequel trilogy is a series of bad sequels. But I don't think that they're
Prequels.
as bad sequels to each. They're sequels to each other.
I think
The
the
prequels are
prequels
bad
make
in like a
makes
different way,
sense. Like the
but
prequels make sense as a narrative. The sequel trilogy does not make sense as a narrative.
the prequels, like, they're one man's passion project going wrong, which I have so much more time for than Disney corporate fighting out a Star Wars trilogy.
That's fair, and I do like almost nothing makes me more angry than the obvious thing where directors were for the sequels were just doing like, I'm just gonna do what I want and then you do what you want, and then the guy who made Jurassic World will do what he wants, and without like consulting each other, which is like, I think they were just like, hey, this will be fun if we do this, you know?
I think they
Anyway,
were kind of arrogant because that's
If
what
they
George
committed
Lucas
to it,
did.
it could have worked though, because
But I
like
mean, that's what
they just
George
have to. I mean,
but
George Lucas obviously didn't watch
didn't
the
know
original
he was going to
trilogy.
make three films. That's the
Mm.
difference. And
No,
he also
he
pulled
thought he
it
was going to
off.
make 10 films, The Journal of the Wills,
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker.
But no, I mean, like
Well,
that's
actually,
why
I
A
was
New
gonna make
Hope is
12 films.
a complete film. Like it's
Yeah,
like
it's like the
you
only
don't
one.
need any
Yes.
other Star Wars movies. It's perfect. But then it's like,
Yes.
okay, I have to do more. And guess what? He pulled it off. Empire Strikes Back is amazing. So it's like you can
Yeah.
do it. It's just probably you shouldn't if you have the opportunity to plan it all out. Maybe plan it all out. But we've talked about Star Wars way more than we've talked about Spider-Man.
Yeah,
So,
I think one of the things is narratively, like your franchise, is it going to work? I mean, it's a TV thing, but episodic or or serialized. Whereas newer Trek is very serialized, so the universe has to end in every series. And I love Trek,
Mm.
but that gets a little old. Star Wars works great when the universe is going to end with everything you do. Spider-Man, I think, is episodic. I was thinking with my comic book reading, most of the Spider-Man's the old school Ditko stuff and the McFarlane run, and nothing Clone Warsy or and or
Until the
nothing.
literal Clone Wars that they
Spider-Man's at
have.
his best when it's literally he's just trying to save some guys.
Yeah,
Where he's just
exactly.
trying to
So it's very
he has a
episodic,
personal
which
connection to the villain and needs to stop him, sort of thing.
That's why the MCU Spider-Man was never super interesting because he got everything
Well,
handed to him by Iron Man.
the MCU Spider-Man is like it's the cinematic equivalent of edging because every film ends with me going like, but he'll be a proper Spider-Man in the next one. And then he's not.
Yeah,
They're claiming this
you're
fourth
right.
one, he's gonna finally be like a street level, hero
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
down on
Italy.
his luck
With
or
no
It's
other
whatever.
filming in
MCU
Italy.
characters shoehorning in. Yeah, we'll see.
It's going back to Europe. It's going to be in Italy. Anyway, um,
I guess one interesting thing with the Spider-Verse though is it's very rewatchable. Where I tried to rewatch No Way Home and I got super bored about 15 minutes in.
Oh
Whereas
yeah,
this
No Way
one,
Home. You don't rewatch the film. You just fast forward to the bit the other Spider-Mans show up and watch
yeah,
the
really.
last half hour.
I gotta say, man, I do love like a building with just like three or four of the greatest actors who ever lived, not
Oh yeah,
not
that
Spider-Man,
bit is good actually.
just hanging out and being pieces of shit.
Yeah, you
and
go
then,
from when he gets the villains back to the house, and then you've got like a really nice hour of film.
yeah, I love. I mean, yeah, I have Willem Dafoe. I'll watch him do literally anything, but
But the
yeah,
Spider-Verse
that is
movies are way more tight than that movie. That movie is a mess. Like you
Yeah.
can tell it was like
Yeah.
shot like a
Well,
Well, you
million
can tell it was shot like in mega COVID times, and like Alfred Molina never met another member of cast and stuff.
And there's like a whole thing about like how obvious it is that they probably changed the entire crux of that movie, like the way that Doctor Strange, like that whole Doctor Strange sequence plays out so weird.
Yeah,
Well,
it
yeah,
just
the
looks
order was
completely
supposed to
different
be
in the
other
trailer
way.
as well.
Yeah, so I think there was like a whole completely different narrative that they rewrote. Like Brave New World did the same thing, where I was like, "There's really cool stuff in this, but you obviously have like chopped this up into something that's like almost incoherent." So,
Multiverse of
but
Madness. I'm
it
like, I
is-
can hang my hat on that. Oh, there's actually stuff in this that looks Raimi, and I like that. But otherwise, I don't
Yeah.
even remember what happened in that movie. You know?
I remember
like Spider-Verse
the
is a
kills.
tight movie. Like it plays out really well.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
and also,
I don't
like-
have any problems with the actual like kind of like
And I
technical
think
qualities.
like to kind of disagree with what you said at the start of the film. The podcast. I think it does sort of have a fairly tight little theme as well. It's just about like it's a little coming of age story. Anyone can be Spider-Man. You can take those messages pretty easily, go about your day. Whereas,
Wait.
like, what is the message of like No Way Home? It's like, oh, well,
Uh,
there are other Spider-Mans.
There was a better
You
Spider-Man movie that you grew up with, and now
Yeah.
we can bring those characters back because we paid them enough.
I'll go ahead and say that it makes me completely insane, the idea that three different Peter Parkers can have completely different DNA, even if they are, and all be Spider-Man, all from different dimensions. Like at least the Spider-Verse movie, it seems like the Peter Parkers are just genetically the same because that makes some sense. But like, geez, man, I'm sorry, I can't not think about those things. So anyway, did
But it's
anyone watch this in
it's
3D?
especially made worse when you then watch Doctor Strange and they're all played by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, because no matter what I complain about this movie and the second Spider-Verse, it's like at least it has a main character, whereas No Way Home kind of fluctuates to like who is the main character? Is Doctor Strange the main character? I
In
don't
a Spider-Man movie.
I don't know. Maybe I mean that I would argue that I guess we'll get into this more pretty soon with their and Infinity End game.
Yeah,
But,
but the good
like-
list right now is like 4 superhero movies in a row.
Yeah. But I would argue that Marvel was like they pulled off the connection thing so well that they coasted on it until it basically the tire wore off and it's like the rim fell off. Like they don't make any effort in making the connections interesting. It's like you're
Well,
supposed
they
to
don't
just-
make any effort in making individual films that you like the characters. The reason the first
Yeah.
Avengers worked is because I already loved Iron Man and loved Captain America and loved Thor. And now
And
they
it
it
also
was-
is people like always like want to bang on about like, oh, Iron Man was like a B grade, comic hero. People vaguely knew of the Avengers. No one knows anything about like the characters they've done in the last
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 movies. No one knows
Yeah,
those
like,
characters. Like,
for normies,
like,
maybe they didn't know Iron Man, but comic book fans knew the Avengers.
even normies probably had
They
heard
knew
of Iron
of
Man.
him, yeah.
Yes, that's what I mean.
What's-
Like they have heard that name, and there's some sort of like iconography associated with it in the back of their head.
They'd
Like I
seen it on
saw
a t-shirt or something,
Thor
yeah.
comics. There were TV shows with Thor and Hulk, and there was stuff around in the zeitgeist. No one knows who the fuck any of these newer characters are, like at all. And I like those new characters. I'm fine with diving into it, but
Yeah, but they have to give them.
You have to
build
build
them
it up, especially if they're Iron Man has a little bit of cultural cachet.
Well,
but they did
We
have
know
to
they
build
can
him up
do it.
still.
They did it with
Like,
Guardians.
Yeah, they can, but yeah.
Well, for Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like I didn't have any idea who they were until I heard about the making of the movie. And to
I
me,
knew
it
Well, they're
was
Rocket
like,
very
Raccoon, I
different
think.
that
too. They're
reminds
they're
me,
barely the same
well,
as the
the
comics,
but
though.
but the thing is that you can tell people like what their whole deal is, and like there's enough to hang your hat on that's interesting, or like, oh, like I want them to make a dog welder movie. Like, you know what a dog welder is? He's like a character who welds dead dogs to people. And then there was a second dog welder because the first dog welder died, and this guy bought his welding equipment for a pawn shop and then became possessed by the ghost of the first dog welder. So I'm like, that's some DC thing that James Gunn has said he won't do because he likes dogs too much. But
So you can do
anyway,
cat welder.
But that is one of the things that's good about Spider-Verse is one of
um,
the few comic book movies that does go to those weird wells of like
Hmm.
pulling out
yeah,
esoteric comic shit. One of the things I do not like about superhero movies in general is that they're usually action movies with like a superhero skin on them and they don't really have much to do with comic books or like what is
yeah.
interesting about comic books to me, like creativity and like all the weirdness that is in comic books and like how you could do anything.
Yeah,
I
there
feel
are
I
like a
mean,
lot of
exceptions,
them
but they've definitely
yeah,
become quite homogenized.
James
they're
Gunn's Superman is certainly
It
suggesting
looks
that's
like
where it's
it's at
going.
least
It's like
visually doing a bit of
because people
that,
are like
yeah.
Crypto the Superdog. Here's the weird
Uh,
Grant Morrison Fortress of Solitude for you, you know? Well, Frank
I'm
Quitely,
super
I guess.
hyped. I'm
I
just
think
worried that
it's
that
gonna be
shit's not
good.
gonna make enough money, and Zaslav's gonna just like put a
Yeah.
nail in this DCU immediately again, like he did. Like they're not gonna have enough faith, but we'll see. I would love to see more than even James Gunn's movies. The stuff that James Gunn is gonna produce is like what
Hmm.
I'm the
Yeah,
most excited for. Like the fact they did a Creature Commandos cartoon is like one of the cooler things like to me. So that kind of stuff is like what I want. But I don't think I'm worried he's not gonna really get to do much. Like this Superman
I
movie's gonna come out, do okay, and then they're gonna shift again. But we'll see.
I mean,
Maybe it'll blow the roof off.
my immediate thought was, here's a guy everyone likes. They're gonna hire him just to like put him up front to do press, and then Zaslav kills everything, and he could be like, "Well, I tried," and everyone won't be as mad. Like I was like, he's just set up as like the good, whatever, the good guy face of the
But like
company that's being destroyed.
if this guy wants to like bin off projects to save money, surely he needs some projects that are making money. I don't really understand what the fuck's
Reality
going on at
shows.
Warner
It's
Brothers.
reality shows.
I
Ah,
saw that Looney
They make
Tunes
so
movie that
much money.
they basically killed, and the day the Earth blew up. It was amazing. I loved
yeah,
it,
I
but
want to see it, but
also,
Looney Tunes barely exists in Japan,
I
so I
do
have to
want to
catch
see
it
that.
online later.
but it like made its budget back eventually, and it's like, what would that movie have made if you actually promoted it?
Hmm.
The only reason people went to see it was like, oh shit, there's a Looney Tunes movie. I want to see that. Like there was no, I didn't know it existed, and I'm the target audience. So
Yeah.
if you had just put more hype on that, like maybe it wouldn't have done great, but like if it's made its budget back and then you get streaming residuals and shit, like what are you doing? They look at the paperwork and like, look, the tax write-off will definitely, cover.
It's
And I'm like,
because
but what about
making
long
money is
term?
not
Don't
enough.
you?
You have to make all the money ever.
But it's
So
also like short term, like the thing was a bomb, but I guarantee you by now that thing has made
Oh yeah, yeah,
that thing
yeah.
that
has made
thing,
like so much money from like re-releases and merch and everything.
Yeah,
So
but
what they have no faith in something to like let it play out.
long-term money doesn't matter if your job is to make immediate profit and then move to another company.
yeah,
Yeah,
because you're fired. You've been fired already. Like when the thing is turning a profit 10 years later. But
You just need the
um,
graph to go up for a year, and then you can move on to your next job and make that graph go up for a year. And no one cares if it then tanks for 10 years afterwards.
The
I
Spider-Verse
worked
seems
at a
So
kind of
to get
insulated.
to the real crux of the podcast, the capitalist cast must be shot.
true. Also, I think Spider-Man 2 is still the best Spider-Man movie.
Same, 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 same. I
I
think
watched it recently and got so emotional. Like,
I
I was
would
like,
like
holy
this
shit.
one more. Like, I really like a lot of what this film does, but I can't say it's the best Spider-Man film because it only works if you've watched every other Spider-Man film ever and read the comics. Like, I don't. How good
Yeah.
is this film by itself?
Sam Raimi's the
As
only one
somebody who
that
doesn't, I'm
One
sorry. As
sec.
someone who's,
Mercy,
oh,
before you saw Spider-Verse, how much Spider-Man did you know?
My God. Saw the Sony movies.
Like the Sam Raimi ones?
Yeah, and then I think it was some Spider-Man.
Okay,
We went to Orlando and we saw Spider-Man. My mom was really excited about
okay. But like, what was it about the film that resonated with you? If you because you didn't already know a load of
it.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Um, I guess I like the idea of many Spider-Mans. I had no idea the Spider-Verse was a thing.
Yeah.
That was fun. Also, I like Miles Morales. He's a fellow Latino.
There you go. Thank you.
It's a
But yeah,
very every time I've gone, it's been
Yeah.
a hugely like diverse audience, like mostly not white people, which is another thing that's cool about the series.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I really, really like the line in No Way Home where like he takes his mask off in front of Electro and he's like, "Gotta tell you, man, I thought you were black."
And yeah, I as somebody who grew up in Atlanta, and I mean, I don't know if I can call myself mixed race, being half Lebanese, but yeah, as like a mixed race
You are to
person,
me.
thank you.
You're not pure.
Yeah, well, 1% of Lebanese blood. There you go. Anyway,
Ugh,
yeah, I see
disgusting.
myself. But anyway, did anybody see this in 3D?
No.
No,
Definitely
I
not.
really wish I had either
I
of
think
them.
I did
Avatar was the
too.
last film I saw in 3D.
When
Avatar
I
2.
saw
Oh no, I
it,
saw Transformers 3.
when I
Avatar
saw it,
2.
in 2018,
Oh
I
yeah, you're right.
missed it
That's
because
Avatar.
it was a weird thing where it wasn't, it was only showing in 3D for a certain amount of time and then it just stopped. So I actually did watch this in I tried to watch it in VR. I just like set a fan right against my head so I could tolerate it and I made it about 15 minutes. And then I switched it to red and blue 3D, which I thought was going to be good, but it was pretty subtle. Like the 3D was not like particularly
Well,
like
everything on
overwhelming in
screen is
this.
red and blue already, right?
Yeah, that's I thought it would I thought it would really go with it. I mean, it was perfectly watchable, but interestingly, the sequel was not released in 3D. And if you
Yeah,
look
that
at
bubble had well and truly
2018,
burst, I think, at that
yeah,
point.
it the bubble burst in between these two films because 2018 3D films there were 52. 2023 there were 22, and in 2025 there are 11. So it is dying. I mean, of course, Avatar, Fire and Ash, and Tron Ares and Superman are all on the 3D
It's mostly
thing.
the 3D animated stuff because they can milk parents and it's very easy to make those look good. But I think
I mean,
Thunderbolts had a 3D. I didn't go see that because I was like,
it
that probably will look like shit. But
it had an
the
only
3D, the movie
IMAX.
was good. But
It was only 3D and IMAX for some reason. Where I was like, I'm not really. I think I'm just gonna watch a cam of that or something. But um,
But
uh,
yeah, I mean, 3D has died several times, and they bring it back. I think they actually brought it back recently because of how terrible the movie industry was doing. So they were like, we can
yeah.
charge more. But like, because there was a period, like, there's that whole thing, like the Disney Alice in Wonderland movie was like the second biggest movie ever, just because it was released in 3D right after Avatar, and people were like, I gotta get more of that 3D. But then it like everyone realized that nothing was ever going to look good like Avatar in 3D. Like there was a few things,
Yeah.
but like not stuff that people saw
Yeah, because they're
really.
not James Cameron
Well,
making
they're
it from
not.
the ground up for that.
So
Well,
they
they're not
eventually
filmed
like
in
got
3D.
burned enough because like a lot of those movies, and not even just that they're not filmed in it, but Cameron. One of the things I like he does, it's like a triptych. You look into the movie screen. It's not like a bunch of shit
Mm.
like in your face. It just
Yeah,
makes
that's what 3D's actually good at, is giving things depth.
feel
But
more
hack
immersed, but it's
directors are
not
always
like
just like, oh, Captain America's throwing his shield at the screen.
yeah.
And then you watch it
Well,
on like Netflix 10 years later and you're like, oh, that bit was meant for the 3D.
And he also is
well,
definitely planning on where the camera is going to be and stuff while thinking of 3D, which basically none of the other movies did, even if it looks okay later. Like they weren't planning, like, okay, well, the camera's going to move like this and it's going to look cool because it's going through all this stuff or whatever. Like they don't think about that. So,
well,
but
interestingly, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I did. I have gotten to see two different movies in Dolby 3D, which is a different process where the 3D glasses are these kind of goggles. They're like rectangular goggles. And the striking thing about it is you can turn your head any way you want and the 3D still works. It's also referred to as orbital 3D. I saw a screening of Creature from the Black Lagoon in that, which was amazing, and Avatar 2,
No,
which was
living out in the
also
mountains of Japan. I mean, I saw Avatar 2 in 3D, of course, and the 3D movie I saw before that was the last Harry Potter movie, which looked like absolute garbage in 3D. I think it was a
mm,
post-conversion stuff. In that case, I didn't have the choice. I had to watch it in 3D. So,
I've seen some stuff recently, but it's usually the ones that like I saw Jurassic Park again because they re-released that. That one is beautiful. Looks amazing in
Yes.
3D. Nightmare Before Christmas I saw in 3D looks great, but like I think it has to be a passion project and a movie that makes sense because it was like shot or made in a way that just kind of goes with that. And you can't just slap it on anything. And
Well,
especially modern Marvel movies or something like that that have been reshot to shit. Like you're just putting, it's just you're adding something to us like something that wasn't planned out in any way. So 3D kind of needs that thought process behind like why the shots look the way they do, or it's just, it's
Like
nothing.
Dinner with Andre in
for
3D.
sure. Yes, please.
Now
No, but
that in 40x, I want my chair to shake. I want to smell the
Wallace
food.
Shawn Spittle gets on you.
Yeah, you can feel the water from
yeah.
his spit in your face. That would be
But
amazing, honestly.
Let me tell you.
but yeah,
You can smell the
I'm
like when he's talking about the orgy, you can smell like all the like naked people and shit. Like,
Just because
I'm
he's talking about
100%.
it.
Yeah, I'm 100% certain that those later conversions are like they take time with them, and that's why they look so good. Like I saw Jurassic Park, Jaws, and Nightmare Before Christmas, and they're like among the best 3D movies I've seen. And I think they're just like because when Marvel does it, they're like, okay, this movie is fit. Like notoriously, those movies are finished like 2 weeks before they come out. So
Hmm.
it's like some poor beleaguered CGI person in a room, just like, oh God, should the shield go in or out of the screen? I don't know. Yeah, like
a lot of
I
that shit
swear.
sometimes they fucked it up. Like I've seen like
Yeah.
obviously not all the shots were done right, and sometimes it doesn't even look right or like looks off and stuff. Like in the movie that they released as 3D, they killed the brand.
Yes.
Like people
I
would like
swear.
3D, but they
I s-
no it. Go ahead.
oh sorry. I was I swear the first time I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, everybody's noses were going inward,
Yeah, yeah, that
but not
that
the
thing
second time.
happens a lot with those.
So,
Mm.
getting back into the Spider-Verse, I guess
Okay,
what
I've got up here the good list. Ikiru would have been improved by Spider-Man. The kids would have enjoyed playing in that park with Spider-Man. M would
hmm,
have been
Mhm.
improved by Spider-Man. Spider-Man
he
could
would
have
have,
solved the murder. North
yeah.
by Northwest would have been improved by Spider-Man. Spider-Man swinging from the plane. Singing in the Rain would have been improved by Spider-Man. Spider-Man could have done a song and dance number. Vertigo would have been improved by Spider-Man. He would have helped them out with the case. Citizen Kane would have been improved by Spider-Man. He would have beat that guy up. Toy Story 3 would have been improved by Spider-Man. He could have saved them from the fire at the end. Lawrence of Arabia would have been improved by Spider-Man. He would have helped them bash the Nazis. Once Upon a Time in America would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have beat up that rapist.
Anything would have
Return of the
improved that
Jedi would
one.
have been improved by Spider-Man. I want to see him fight Darth Vader. Toy Story 1 would have been improved by Spider-Man. I wanted him to have a Spider-Man action figure. The Hunt would have been improved by Spider-Man. He would have proved that guy was innocent. 2001: A Space Odyssey would have been improved by Spider-Man. I want to see Spider-Man in Zero G. Reservoir Dogs would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have foiled that bank robbery. No one had to die. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind would have been improved by Spider-Man. He could have had memories of Spider-Man to fall back on. Requiem for a Dream would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have beaten up the drug dealers. They wouldn't have had any of those problems.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
Glorious
ass to
Bastards would have been
ass.
improved by Spider-Man. Spider-Man could have beat up Hitler. Good Will Hunting would have been improved by Spider-Man. He could have taught that guy and then helped him grow as a person. High and Low would have been improved by Spider-Man. He would have caught the murderer. The Great Dictator would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have beaten up the dictator. Witness for the Prosecution would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have beaten up the murderer. Paths of Glory would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have ended the war. Sunset Boulevard would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have caught the criminals. Das Boot would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have saved them from the boat. Doctor Strangelove would have been improved by Spider-Man. He would have stopped the bombs. Princess Mononoke would have been improved by Spider-Man. He would have helped. Like the Venom, that's basically that curse. He's a pro at that. Capernaum would have been improved by Spider-Man. Wouldn't have been so boring. The Lives of Others would have been improved by Spider-Man. He could have
Same
built a
line.
gadget to block them from listening. Wally would have been improved by Spider-Man. He's fit and not fat. Three Idiots would have been improved by Spider-Man. He could have helped those guys. They
Luke
would
is
have. He
running
would
out
have
of
saved that
gas
guy who
now.
killed himself.
One
Your
does.
Name would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have slung the meteor back into space. Coco would have been improved by Spider-Man. Latin Americans love Spider-Man. Amadeus would have been improved by Spider-Man. He could have danced to the tunes. Come and See would have been improved by Spider-Man. He would have ended World War II. Aliens would have been improved by Spider-Man. I want to see him fight an alien. Braveheart would have been improved by Spider-Man. I want to see him fight Mel Gibson. The Shining would have been improved by Spider-Man. He could have busted that hotel wide open. Memento would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have caught that guy. The Dark Knight Rises would have been improved by Spider-Man. I want to see him team up with Batman. Old Boy would have been improved by Spider-Man. I want to see him fight those guys in that corridor.
I need
Raiders of the
octopus.
Lost Ark would have been improved by Spider-Man. I want to see him team up with Indy. Django Unchained would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have beaten up all the racists. American Beauty would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have beaten up the pedophile. Avengers Infinity War, good movie, has Spider-Man. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, good movie, has Spider-Man. Joker would have been improved by Spider-Man. He'd have beaten up the Joker. Avengers Endgame, good movie, has Spider-Man. City
Okay,
Lights,
well,
haven't seen that yet.
Yeah,
Modern
yeah,
Times,
isn't
haven't
it?
seen that. Rear Window, I want to see. Spider-Man takes photos. Cinema Paradiso, haven't seen that yet. Grave of the Fireflies, apparently sad. Maybe I don't want to see Spider-Man get nuked. But he could have stopped the nuke, so it would have been improved by Spider-Man. Psycho, he could have beaten up the Psycho, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Casablanca, boring, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Once Upon a Time in the West, there's Cowboy Spider-Mans, it would have been improved by Spider-Man. The Untouchables, Spider-Man would have touched him, would have been improved by Spider-Man. The Pianist, haven't seen it. American History X, full of racists, would have been improved by Spider-Man, he beat them up. The Lion King would be improved by Spider-Man. There's a lion spider in the Spider-Verse. The Usual Suspects, he'd have beaten up Kaiser Soze, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Alien, he could fight the alien, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Leon the Professional, he would have saved that girl's family, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Apocalypse Now, he could beat up fucking Marlon Brando, would have been improved by Spider-Man. The Prestige, it already has Wolverine and Batman, might as well have Spider-Man. The Departed, they're a bunch of criminals, they could have been stopped by Spider-Man, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Gladiator, I want to see Spider-Man in the ring, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Back to the Future, I've seen him in the future, 2099, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Parasite, he would have beaten up those rich guys, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Whiplash already has J. Jonah Jameson, might as well have Spider-Man. Harakiri, Spider-Man, you know, they like him in Japan. He could do some samurai stuff, would be improved by Spider-Man. Seven Samurai, same again, would be improved by Spider-Man. It's a Wonderful Life, it'd be an even more wonderful life with Spider-Man. Life is Beautiful, it would be with Spider-Man. City of God, New York City, improved by Spider-Man. Spirited Away, he probably stinks in that suit. Maybe he should go to an onsen, would be improved by Spider-Man. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, I want to see him team up with Arnie, would be improved by Spider-Man. Star Wars, I said it before, I'll say it again. I want to see him fight Darth Vader. It would be improved by Spider-Man. Saving Private Ryan, he should have beaten the Nazis. Would have been improved by Spider-Man. The Green Mile, he would have proved those guys innocent, got them out of prison. Would have been improved by Spider-Man. Seven, he could have beat that killer before he killed 7 dudes. Would have been improved by Spider-Man. Silence of the Lambs, he'd catch that cannibal. Would have been improved by Spider-Man. Interstellar, Spider-Man in space, hell yeah, would have been improved by Spider-Man. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. One swung over the cuckoo's nest on a web. Would have been improved by Spider-Man. The Empire Strikes Back, fights Darth Vader. Would have been improved by Spider-Man. The Matrix. Most of the Spider-Man films are doing little Matrix stunts because it was post-Matrix. So it would have been improved by Spider-Man. Goodfellas, more like good punches from Spider-Man. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and Spider-Man. The Two Towers. Well, he couldn't save the Twin Towers. Maybe he could save the Two Towers. Would have been improved by Spider-Man. Forrest Gump, he could have shot that guy up half an hour in, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Fight Club, he would have won the Fight Club, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Inception, all of my dreams are about Spider-Man, would have been improved by Spider-Man. The Fellowship of the Ring, he'd have got it to Mordor right quick, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Pulp Fiction, pulp comic books about Spider-Man. 12 Angry Men, how about 11 Chill Men and 1 Spider-Man? The Godfather Part 2, he would have ended all crime, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Return of the King, Spider-Man is my king, would have been improved by Spider-Man. Schindler's List, I want to see him bop Nazis, would be improved by Spider-Man. The Dark Knight, I want him to team up with Batman, would be improved by Spider-Man. The Godfather, it's about crime, Spider-Man should be there. The Shawshank Redemption, Spider-Man should have been putting the shocker in that prison.
Okay, so is this a film
Wow.
or filth for you with Into the Spider-Verse? And he's gone. That was his out. Okay, I guess that means it was
Wow.
film.
That's incredible.
He lost a
Nobody's
little
ever
steam in
done
the
that on
middle,
their
but he had
podcast.
a late stage comeback.
The main thing
Well-
that taught me was that the IMDb top 250 is pretty fucking terrible.
I don't know, man. Harakiri rules. So City of
That's one of my
God.
favorite movies. I'm not saying there's no good
Yeah.
movies on it, but like
Yeah.
the order and or some of the picks. Like
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's the conceit of the podcast, right?
and
I do
Spider-Man
have-
was better than half those movies, right? He's literally above like 100 of them, right? Like
yeah.
so.
Well, we're only doing the top 100, so that was only
Ah,
100. That only 100. I'm acting like that wasn't the most impressive thing that I've ever.
But he would have fit in Scarface or Taxi Driver, which are just off the list.
Well, you know what else is just off the list? Spider-Man No Way Home at 8.2.
Right. And Across the Spider-Verse, by the way, is 8.5 because it wasn't out
It's
when
higher
we,
than this.
yeah, it's higher than this one now. So I should have,
I
yeah.
I think it does look better. We kind of glazed over it really quickly, but man, it was really, it's just a reminder of how full of shit people are, that they said, "Oh, well, the second half of this or the next sequel's coming out next year," or something like that. Um,
And it's 2 years later, is it?
I think it wasn't even a year. I think they were like 6 months later or something like that. Yeah, and they didn't even release any footage from it or any like teaser from it until 2 years later, and they have no idea when it's going to be finished. And they apparently had no script for it. It's just unbelievable how, and a lot of people were not aware that was going to be a cliffhanger. And I guess I did because I read a lot of stuff. I don't know, but a lot of people were blindsided by it.
I don't even
Uh,
think a cliffhanger has to be bad. Empire Strikes Back is a cliffhanger, and like
Well,
it's
makes people
satisfying.
mad.
That's the difference. Like this,
Yeah.
the problem with the second Spider-Verse is that the cliffhanger is not satisfying. You're like, oh, that's it. Like Empire
I
Strikes
don't know.
Back has an emotional resolution where you're like, oh shit, like I want to know what's next, but like it feels complete. Spider-Verse feels like a bunch of shit building up to something and then like no payoff. Like
No, man. Well, I mean, but he's like in the spoilers for the second movie. He's like stuck in the universe where everybody's evil or something, and they're gonna like kill him or something. I don't
yeah, I
remember
guess.
exactly what it was.
But that's not
Well, it's like,
interesting. That's just a different place to be. It's not like a like, the end of Empire Strikes Back is like Luke getting his ass kicked and fucking having his hand chopped off and finding out his father is the worst person on Earth. The end on
well,
in
he
the universe. But like
I
the end of Spider-Verse is like he's about to fight some more bad guys. You better well, here's some more of them. Like there's
but
no dramatic tension. There's nothing interesting about it. It's just like
but he was
another
stuck in a wrong
dimension.
universe. He has no way
Oh,
home.
check out
yeah,
how
He
that's
has
what,
no
confused
way
I got
home.
though.
that's
I
why multiverses are not interesting because you can
You're
just
right.
go to another universe. It
Mm.
doesn't matter. Like throw it in the
Yeah.
trash. Who cares?
I
Burn it.
got
Yeah.
so
Fucking
wildly
Somebody.
confused last night because I stopped the Blu-ray at 40 minutes and remembered 40 minutes exactly, and then went to files on my laptop to continue the movie, but I got the title screw up and put on Across at 40 minutes. And so I'm like, what the fuck's happening?
Well, that's
And I
well,
couldn't
that's why
find the
Back to
scene
the
I was on.
Future. That's why Back to the Future is better because there's one time machine. So it's like even though okay they do a lot of like woo woo put fly the car or whatever put it in different places, but it's like in this multiverse they just can figure out some kind of device. Like I found a device.
Yeah, in the
that's
Matrix,
why
you only
Yeah.
get one Matrix at a time. You gotta blow up one Matrix to get another Matrix.
that's why DC did the whole New 52 thing because it's like okay, if there's infinite
Yeah.
multiverses, what are the stakes? Like you can destroy everyone, kill everyone, and just hop over, so it doesn't matter. So they're like, there's only 52 worlds, which is still like goofy, but they at least like set it up like if this goes away, there's like a limited amount of them as opposed to just for perpetually like I could just go to another Rick and Morty ass dimension or whatever. It doesn't
I've got
matter.
a couple of one-star reviews for Into the Spider-Verse that I can read.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Uh,
Are they all racist?
no,
Oh no.
neither of the ones I have are. So,
Good.
so disappointing. I'm a lifelong Spider-Man fan. This is probably the worst venture of the whole series. I lost interest within about 15, 20 minutes. Nobody wants Miles Morales as the primary Spider-Man. I guess you could call that racist,
I was
maybe.
gonna say,
Plenty
I
of
think it's
people do. I think plenty of people do.
racist.
But that's not even the reason this was so bad. It was just stupid. The 70s TV movie with Nicholas Hammond was better. Plus, the entire story was already played out on TV. Ultimate Spider-Man? Question mark? No, that's a comic book. It was just an unnecessary, unwanted, and poorly executed venture. 42 found it helpful. 128 found it not helpful.
I
This
will
one,
agree with one thing that the 70s show, not the Japanese one, the American one, is kind of good.
oh
Like
yeah,
there's
we
I
watched.
think oh, okay.
We watched the Hong Kong one for the earlier version of this podcast. So if anyone wants to go back and listen to that, somewhere in the feed. So and we had a good time. Um, one more I'll read here is most boring movie of all time. If I could give this a zero, I would. Congratulations, you just bumped Forrest Gump into the second most boring movie of all time, and that is no small achievement. This movie was boring from the start and only got worse. The voice of the characters made me think they picked people from a junior high play to read the parts. and they were reading their lines for the first time, and they were recording in a studio with terrible acoustics, terrible. Worst voiceovers ever in an animated movie. The visuals were unappealing, the music was extremely annoying, and I don't know how anyone over age 5 could enjoy this movie. One
All right.
more,
That
this. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, can I do this one?
I was
Yeah.
gonna say one thing about the voice actor thing and like the teenage. Did you guys see that Mutant Mayhem Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie?
Yes.
Actually, I haven't gotten to watch it yet. I keep
It's
forgetting.
obviously very inspired by this, and like the
Yes.
animation is a different style, but just like the energy and kind of like craziness of the
That
animation.
kind of
But
pop art
also
look of it. Yeah.
one thing I love that kind of like he sounds like he's talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie more than that. They got like literal like 14-year-olds to be all the voices, so they're like and they like would just hang out in the studio and kind of like fuck with each other and riff, and so
I
it
like
really
that.
feels like a bunch of kids hanging out, and it's great. But like I wonder if he would have a that's his problem, like Spider-Verse times 10 or whatever. It's like, oh, look at these young kids. It sounds terrible. I don't get that complaint. I think they all sound cool, but anyway. But it just reminded
I
me of like that cool bit from
Yeah, I thought that like saying the acoustics in the studio is terrible. I was like, what? I just certainly didn't notice that.
I
the
mean
only sound
they,
design thing in any of them is like in the second one, it's like got some. Did you see the first time they showed it? Like it had a different sound mixing than the next time. So if you saw it like in the opening day, it was fucking awesome because like all of the synthy like crazy sounds were huge and loud and you felt them. And I guess people complained and they like completely remixed it and they turned down like a lot of the cool like whenever the spot shows up and there's like that kind of intense stinging like electronic sounds, that was like so loud and intense when I saw it in IMAX, and then I saw it again like a week later and they had like completely changed all that because I guess it was too much for people's ears or something.
huh. I did see Sinners a couple of weeks ago, and that was loud as fuck, and I was
Hell
happy.
yeah.
I was happy about that because that's very music oriented film, but
And
I
some
didn't get
great
to see it
ass
in IMAX
music.
yet. Yeah, it's amazing.
You got a oneer for
Okay,
us?
yeah, into the out of focus universe. Unwatchable. Apparently, they had 180 artists on this movie that decided to go with the worst art style ever. After 10 minutes, I thought my TV was broken, so I tried it on another one. Was exactly the same stupid out of focus backgrounds and trying something that didn't need to be done. I hope they do a in focus version because I would like to watch it. Stupid art department decision. 9 out of 44 found that helpful.
Maybe this dude has like glaucoma or something.
Yeah.
He's
I
like
mean,
slowly losing
I
his eyesight, blaming it on the movie.
I could see how the bombastic art style of this would maybe trigger a seizure or upset someone or both. It's extremely my shit. Like I love like I just wish everything looked like this. I
There
don't
are a
know.
lot of
I like
headache
colors.
complaints here now that I'm scrolling through. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I'm
every
sure for
third.
like boomers or whatever, this is like TikTok slop basically to them. Like, oh my God, it's just constant colors and sounds and but to me it's
Yeah.
fine. Like I didn't have any problem with any of that part really. I think it relies on it too much. I do think it like uses that it looks and sounds cool as a crutch for other things, but I don't see why you could complain about how the movie looks. Like that's one of the few things that's unimpeachable as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I tried to look into like the frame rate. Like it seemed like it was clearly like designed to look more like stop motion, whereas CGI can always obviously can be smooth. But
It
I love
changes.
that about it. But yeah, they were saying that actually Miles is animated at 12 frames per second, and he gradually speeds up to 24 by the end of the film.
I for sure noticed that because at the beginning I was like, "What the hell? Why is it so
And
not
they do
glitchy
it
but choppy?"
They do it
Yeah.
with like brief moments and stuff. I think you already mentioned it, but they or the review mentioned it. Like they had people in all sorts of studios around the world just kind of like, here's a minute, have fun with it. And I guess there was some guidance, but they could kind of like put their stank on it and be like, this is my little touch that makes my little section a little different or whatever. So that
Yeah.
kind of gives it that constant flowing. Everything is got, you know exactly know what it's going to look like or do. So that's the coolest stuff about it. It's just all that fun freedom, and I just wish it was not a Spider-Man movie, I guess. It was-
I'm, yeah, I'm
But
like
to make the
if
money, it has to be, right? If it was an art film, it would be an art film and it'd play in
uh,
art houses and make art house money.
yeah. I
well,
mean,
yeah.
the good thing is it probably will inspire stuff like this or give more money or like attention to animation.
Budget for this one, 90 million,
Yeah.
which I guess yeah. I mean, that's
I
not
mean,
nothing.
I hope the allegations about, or I don't know, there are allegations about animators being horribly mistreated. I guess animators being horribly mistreated is like always, all the time, everywhere.
It's like
I
stuntmen or
guess.
anything else. Like it's just a
Yeah,
career that is not considered valuable or like
yeah.
they're
Oh,
like you're
Beyond is currently listed for 2027.
That might be optimistic even, and that's,
Yeah. Well, from
that
what
would
you're
put
saying.
it about as far away from the second one as the second one is from the first one.
I
But
genuinely think they did that on purpose as marketing. Like they knew they weren't going
yeah.
to be ready, and they were just like, "Oh, it's coming," so that people would get hyped or whatever. And then we're like, "Oh fuck!" Now we gotta actually
mean,
do that.
Yeah, either it was a lie on purpose or a lie with hopes that it wouldn't be a lie eventually, or they'd figure it out.
The
It's
Elon Musk approach, like 10 more years, and we're gonna have
Yeah.
it done. Don't you worry.
Yes, the self-driving car, it'll be here. The Hyperloop, it'll be working next year. Yep.
Okay,
Don't
my
don't
last
don't invest in
thing,
public transportation. Anyway, go ahead.
my last bit is
Mhm.
that I think I still like the Lego movie better for the Lord and Miller stuff.
Uh,
Not the
I
second one
think
though. I didn't like the second
I
one so much. The first one.
yeah,
Cloudy with a
I think
chance of
that
meatballs. Not
Oh,
a
that was some
fan.
good stuff too. Yeah.
yeah,
Meet the Mitchells.
I didn't see
haven't seen
that.
that.
No,
I
they've done a few that are pretty good, but
Yeah, but
I think
I
well the
still think the
Lego
Lego movie's kind of my favorite. I guess because that just throws so much shit at you, but at the same time, it does have a very tight story, so it could have all that shit or not have all that shit. So, um, even Lego Batman I enjoyed, but I didn't think it rated up with that first Lego movie.
I think it was
the
also
leg
that Lego movie was so surprising. Like me and
yeah.
you saw that, Mark, and I was
Yes.
like, everyone
Yeah, it
else
was
is
like
seeing it,
what
I'll go, but I was completely like, this is gonna be some terrible bullshit. Like but I was impressed. So I think it's
yeah,
like you expect a Spider-Man movie to at least be pretty cool, if not a great movie. You don't go into the Lego movie like, oh man, this is gonna be so fucking good. It's gonna blow my mind. Like so.
yeah. And then they made a bunch more of them, and I don't know how good some of them are, but I like the Batman one. I thought it was not the worst Batman movie.
That Lego Ninjago,
Pretty
that's the
good.
one you really gotta get the deep cut right there. Lego
Yeah.
Ninjago movie.
Yeah, I didn't take that
Right?
dive, and I only
They
watched
could,
half of the second one.
I'll go ahead and say this. I bet they could make a better Lego Star Wars movie than most of the Star Wars movies.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can watch the
They could, 'cause
cutscenes
like,
from all the games and it
yeah,
works. Like,
they nail this like sense of humor that just does not exist all that much, and that I don't know. I think even though I've gone on record as saying Andor is my favorite Star Wars, I think that Star Wars could use a little bit more levity.
And here's Mark taking us back to fucking Star Wars.
he's he he's saying that
Somehow
he
Star
wants
Wars
more Jar
return.
Jar Binks characters. He's upset there's not enough comedic relief.
I
Where the hell that is what I think about when I watch Andor though, is like, what if Watto shows up right now, or
I'd be fine with that.
no, I know that's what I want to happen. I want to see like Jar Jar Binks was a senator. I want him to show up in one of these fucking meetings and be like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going?"
Road
Like,
trip movie of Watto and Jar Jar Binks. I would
Just-
run to see that in the
just-
theater.
Dude,
Like-
just Jar Jar Binks in the background during like one of those tense scenes where they're trying to like
Yeah,
where they're trying to like get the listening device out of the statue or whatever, and he's just back there drinking or something and just don't explain it.
that is the funniest thing about Andor, is that it's like this show of like a bunch of moody humans in brown clothes, but like the same universe. Like General Grievous is like running around like the fucking robot guy with like 8 arms or whatever the fuck. Like I don't know.
But-
That's such a funny like contrast.
But they do when there are aliens in Andor, they're usually kind of like weird shitheads, which I do love. Like there's that whole sequence towards the end where like what's her name is wheeling like a senile alien who doesn't know what's happening to get into the hospital, and she's like, "Where are we?" It's like they do interesting things. They probably don't have enough aliens in it. I mean,
I just wish they would go more in the whole idea is that they're human supremacists. I mean, really all Disney Star Wars is cheap, so they don't have aliens in basically anything. Like, look at that Obi-Wan show. He's on fucking Tatooine. It's like, so 10 years from now, all the aliens move here. Like, why is it a bunch of fucking humans? But anyway,
Yeah.
for Andor, there's an in-universe reason where you can be like, oh, okay, the Empire is human supremacist. That's established in A New Hope. when like Chewbacca shows up and they're like, "What are you doing with this thing?" None of the Empire's aliens or whatever, they're all like white British dudes. So there's like this idea that they're kind of like fascist, but they've never really like they could use that as an excuse in Disney for like their cheap bullshit, but just show a alien concentration camp or something. I don't know. Like they if you're going to have that, you can't just like brush it under like it just makes the universe feel small and stupid. Because I'm like in the first fucking movie, you go to Mos Eisley Cantina and you see that there's like endless planets with endless variety of life, and then it's like every Disney movie is like maybe one alien that like shows them like, hey, I'm the crazy alien. Like there's no
On a screen.
yeah, it's like
Well-
there's no texture, there's no like idea that this is a lived-in universe with like billions of beings. Like it's like how in The Force Awakens they blow up a literal planet that like looks like Coruscant but isn't Coruscant, and it doesn't matter, doesn't. And it's like, what the fuck else is happening in this universe? Who fucking cares? It doesn't matter. So
I thought that
that's
was
the whole
Also, you
Disney
can
thing.
look up in the sky and see planets
Ah!
get blown up.
Yeah,
Anyway. But yeah,
Fucking-
they should have gotten Jim Henson's Creature Shop to make a bunch of Muppets for Andor. I agree, but I
Sebulba.
still think the writing's good. Yeah, sure.
like if Sebulba
Anybody.
showed up and started talking to Andor, right? Like that would be. That's
What,
all I
what
could
were
think.
the pod
Or, like,
racer names? Like, is it Rick Dang Dump?
Oh, I've
Dungus
gone
or
on a
whatever?
list of those in
Oh,
podcasts.
did you want me to? Yeah, I could tell you every one of them if you want. Ord
We've
Ordentel
already
is a
had that
cool
bit.
one.
We've had that bit in the podcast.
We've done it. Again, yeah, now that we're 5 minutes more into Star Wars, I guess we should start wrapping up for today, being an hour 15 into the podcast.
Okay, one more thing. It really frustrated me when the first MCU I almost said Star Wars. What the
I mean, what's the difference at this point?
Brains.
Spider-Man.
Mandalorian and Grogu is might as well be MCU. Like, anyway, go.
when that first Tom Holland Spider-Man movie came out, it frustrated me because I was like, this is good. I like this, but I cannot put a finger on why this is not as good as previous I mean, that's what always frustrates me about those films is that I'm like, this is good, but I don't know what is keeping it from being great.
There's no dramatic core to Peter Parker's character. Like that is what I was saying about like people who love just Spider-Man. Like Sam Raimi understands that the thing that is interesting about Spider-Man is his life fucking sucks, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
And everything is shit. And the only like he can't like ever have a good life. And like even though he's one of the most powerful people on Earth, like everything is shit in his life. Like and he gets like hit in the face and like Sam Raimi puts him through like Bruce Campbell Evil Dead type shit. Like he gets just horribly brutalized and like treated like shit or like is an asshole to everyone and his life is shit. And in the MCU, his life is fine. And if something dramatic happens to him, it's like done in like the most like they kind of do it with like Willem Dafoe killing Aunt May, but it's just like so little, so late, like that. Who gives a shit at that point? But there's 3 Spider-Men in a bunch of like dimensions, so it's like it loses all impact. But that's what I was saying. Sam Raimi and a lot of these comic book movies don't understand that. You got to drill in on like what is the core that works about this character, and they just ignore that. Like they're like, oh, Spider-Man's cool because he's Spider-Man. And I'm like, to a degree, but you have to give him some sort of pathos. Like, what the fuck is like, is his life just like, oh, I'm a high school kid and I got a crush. That's it. Like, that's boring. No one gives a fuck. So anyway, that's why
Yeah.
Sam Raimi understands that he has to suffer. He has to have a horrible shit life, and he has to like not get what he wants. Like that is in Disney will not do that. Disney makes movies where people get everything they want. Disney makes movies where you were born in a certain way, and that means you're special and you're better than everyone else, and all your dreams come true. So
He's
they will not
literally-
do that. Like,
I mean, he's literally bankrolled almost immediately by like this international arms dealer
Hey, Tony Stark's
Iron Man.
fuckboy.
because wasn't it the whole thing? He's bankrolled by Iron Man because Iron Man wants to go beat up people who think that superheroes should have to register. Like that is literally his origin in the MCU. So that's like there are a lot of problems with that. I agree. And at the time, you're just like, "Wow, this is neat what they're doing with this character," but yeah, it didn't work. And then the second one
it works
was just-
in the overall context of the MCU, and I think he's good in those Avengers movies. But
And Tom
as
Holland's
a
just
character,
very,
it's just
very
not-
good with what they
I-
give him.
I
like, what-
agree.
yeah.
he
But they
is
just
good.
don't give him anything in his own movies. Like he doesn't really do much. Like he doesn't really have any troubles or whatever. Like they kind of try to, but it's all weak, kind of.
And I'll go ahead and say I think Zendaya is probably the best love interest a Spider-Man has had, but that's just probably because she just is like a relatable, depressed
I never
person in those
understood
roles.
Zendaya until I saw Challengers, and I was like, okay, I get it. She's insanely
Hell yeah.
talented. But before that, I
Did
was
you watch
like,
Euphoria?
never saw Euphoria.
I love Euphoria, man. If you like trash, then watch Euphoria. It's great, like very artistically made, like tawdry trash stuff. It's cool. I think
I'll
if
check.
you like Challengers, you would probably at least kind of like Euphoria because it's kind of in the same. It's adjacent enough, but and you listeners also watch those things that we said.
The thing that Mark said.
The thing that I said.
I guess we should swing it into the ending here, but Philip, you
Uh-huh.
got anything to plug at the moment?
I actually do this time, and there was one thing I should have been plugging this whole time. I don't know why, but I have a letterbox, and that's like one of the few things that I post on all the time, and that's relevant. So, Gray Velvet, like Four Flies on Gray Velvet, the Argento movie. So the gray is with an E. I'm also going to start streaming on Twitch. I'm recently unemployed. Fun times, but that
Oh,
means I can do game design all day and then stream at night. So I'm going to be streaming on Twitch at Limitless Configurations and doing game design all day in the morning and trying to turn around some fun little games, see what happens. So,
nice.
and see where the future takes me in the wonderful world of being unemployed. So,
You should do a roguelite that's based on a guy pooping. I just made that up. I don't
I
know.
mean, that's like there's that game that's literally called Walking Simulator now. It's a Devolver thing, and it's just like you have to walk, and it's really hard.
I
Like
love
that's
Devolver.
what I'm leaning into. It's just like something
Yeah.
that's funny enough that like people like, and I'll give it like good art design or whatever, but I'm not necessarily like, oh, I'm gonna have the greatest mechanics in this game or whatever, but it'll be like quirky and interesting. I played something recently
Nice.
called Traumatarium, which is like a fake old school Game Boy game, and you even like in the game have to put a cartridge in a Game Boy, but it's very basic, but the art design and the sound design is so cool that like even though I don't get lost in the gameplay, like I have fun playing it or whatever. I don't know.
Nice. I
Anyway,
see it's on itch.io, which again, I recommend itch.io. You want to find some cool shit to play, go there. And people generally
itch.io.
get the money. Itch.io.
If you want cool shit to listen to, we do our podcasting. We're at podcastio.org. Same thing on Patreon. Give us a nice review or whatever on the podcatchers. Time Enough Podcast, just finishing up the Twilight Zone, the original one. Podcast 1999, just finishing up the live action Planet of the Apes TV show. And there's Luke Loves Pokemon, Game Show, Monster Mash, all that stuff. Dig it.
I think by now we're going to be on to the animated Planet of the Apes series.
Yeah. We'll probably
Like
be
when
somewhere.
this
Lots
comes
of
out.
lots of animation. That is the next plan there. But
Yep.
okay, I'm going to implode this universe, and you'll all have to go to another one because there's infinite universes.
Okay, I'm going to go to
I'm
the one where I have a sandwich.
I'm gonna go to the
Mm.
one where Mark doesn't have a sandwich, just
Damn
to
it.
make him mad.
Ah.